Japan has a lot of unique animals to see. More specifically, there are places that let you be way more up close to animals than your typical zoo would. Many of these animals aren't your typical pets, and you'd be hard-pressed to find them in your home. But how do they compare to being around a normal pet like, say, my dog? Today, we're going to explore 4 different animal activities in Japan, and see if owning my dog Sugar can compete with being around these animals of Japan. First, this is Sugar. She is a 12-year-old Jack Russell Terrier mix. She needs to be walked and fed twice a day, have yearly checkups at her vet, and groomed every few months or so. Not a very complicated dog to take care of. Now, let's see how she compares to these other animals. Our first stop is the Owl Cafe in Akiba, Tokyo. Maybe you've heard of a cat cafe before. They've been popping up in places like the United States. However, instead of cats, it's owls. Go figure. Now, hearing the word cafe, you'd expect it to be a place where you can order a coffee and be surrounded by owls as you enjoy your drinks and snacks. Until you realize why that would be a horrible idea. Now look, I already get a panic attack anytime Sugar eats the tiniest unidentifiable thing off the ground. I can only imagine the fear that pops up on these people. Like, how do you wrestle a cookie crumb from a bird that has these murder talons? The experience starts off with the employees sitting everyone down, and immediately they ask you to be very quiet, because birds. They then lay out some of the ground rules about being around the owls, and even how to pet them.
Would like to advise how to touch. The first day, don't like to be touched. Very sensitive and delicate. Please don't touch a lot. When touching with a single finger to the forehead, slowly.
After a quick tutorial, you are free to roam around and select an owl to hold. You can get a small one like these, or a giant one like this fellow over here. His name is Spring Onion. He seemed cautious, yet open to conversation. He's a big bird, and he has claws that tells me that he's allowed to eat any goddamn cookie crumb he wants. And I'm not gonna be the one that tells him no from that. After a while, Spring O said he was done vibing, and he hopped on the ground to go head back to bed. The staff carried him back, and I was left to pick out another friend to hang out with. I made eye contact with this lad named Kiwi. He had some gossip he wanted to share on the other owls. You could see how into it he was getting. All in all, it was a very peaceful and comforting experience. I'm not very knowledgeable on owls, or even how to handle them, but it was nice to have people that were, and who could help foster an environment where I could be up that close with them. Owls are illegal to own where I live, so it's about the closest experience I'll get to owning one. Now, how do they compare to Sugar? Well, she is also cute, and not illegal to own, and you don't need professionals to handle her, and she also loves sharing gossip, so my dog is a clear winner. Moving on. Next up, I went to the Fox Village, located in Miyagi. It's about a 2-hour or so bullet train ride from Tokyo. Now, when you think of the word Fox Village, you probably think of something like Animal Crossing, right? A little area to walk around and hang out with your animal friends. Well, this isn't a video game. This is real life. Which, yes, just so happens to be exactly like Animal Crossing in this case, but don't get used to that. Anyway, after getting through the front desk, you get to the actual Fox Village. Now, unlike Animal Crossing, you can't just go up and say hi and give them some bug and become friends. Or I mean, you might be able to do that, but you absolutely will get bitten, as that is the most clear warning you will see here. So, I went in the winter, and it was a really pretty sight. The foxes are energetic, and they like to scream and make silly noises. Anyway, I bet by this point, the monkey in your brain really just wants to pet and cuddle them as if they were a dog, right? That sign earlier doesn't exist. We don't do object permanence around here. So, what can we do? Well, they actually do have these little sessions here where, with specially trained foxes, you can hold and pet them. Anyways, this is Momo-chan. She is adorable and very friendly. And honestly, I was trying to think of some joke to narrate over this moment, but I'm gonna be honest, I was extremely happy and giddy in this moment. Foxes are quite actually one of my favorite animals. And I've accepted that foxes aren't pets and owning one would definitely be a horrible idea. But this is probably one of the only places in the world that would allow me just a moment to be this close to a fox, as if it was no different from a cat or a dog. And That was very meaningful to me. Her fur was extremely soft and felt different from any cat or dog I've ever been around. Anyway, after all that was said and done, the staff called a taxi for me and I was on my way back to the train, which I promptly missed and had to take a very expensive additional cab ride to the next station, but that's besides the point. Moving on. Now, compared to Sugar, she can be pet whenever you want, and she won't bite you, and doesn't need special training to be held, and she also makes very silly noises. So, Sugar wins no diff, moving on. And now, for another viral spot, the Cat Island, otherwise known as Tashirojima Island, in the Miyagi Prefecture of Japan. Now, this may also feel like an Animal Crossing village, but that would be very disrespectful to the rich history that both this island and its residents hold, so we aren't going to reduce it to that kind of analogy. But yes, this is an island full of animal residents and homes and businesses scattered throughout, but look. It was famous for its silkworm production in the past, and then they brought a bunch of cats to fend off all the predators, and look, it has a big story behind. Many videos show its thriving cat populations in the summer, taken care of by the island's very young residents. Though it looked more like this when I arrived. Huh. So, obviously, being in the winter, not many cats are going to be out and about. I didn't quite factor in the possibility of it snowing despite visiting in the winter, but regardless, the island was quite beautiful in the snow. I'd never really seen much of a winter wonderland site before, but this was definitely the closest to it. After navigating through the village streets, I found myself on a trail. I met these two friends who accompanied me on my trip up the road. I didn't have anything to give them, sadly, nor was I allowed to, because you're not really supposed to feed them here. So after getting very distracted and taking literally everything but the main path, where the fuck am I? I don't know. I really don't. But that's okay. I eventually made it to this cafe, which would have been a wonderful stop in this cold to just, sit down, have a warm meal, and hang out with the cats who were also sitting in the warmth. But honestly, I couldn't tell if they were open or not, so instead of going up and asking, I just kind of didn't, and so I just chilled with these guys instead. I'm gonna be honest, I can't even blame the language barrier on this. I just had social anxiety here. I was just nervous. Anyways, this cat came over here and sat in my lap and claimed me, with a few others following suit, which honestly made this whole trip out here worth it. Though, I had to bid farewell to my friends, as I anxiously headed back to the port side because I was deeply afraid of missing the only ferry that would get me back home. But when I got back to the mainland, I also realized that the nearest train station was like a 15-minute walk away from me and like the heavy snowstorm that was happening, so yeah, that was fun. For some reason, I thought wearing fingerless gloves was also a good idea that day. Like, what the fuck was I thinking that time? Oh, yeah, right. So, yeah, compared to Sugar, so, like, I don't need a ferry to get to her, and she is not located in the snow, and she will also sit in my lap and not leave me as well. So, yeah, 10 out of 10. Sugar wins 3-0. Come on, let's just keep it moving. Now, this last one was a bit spontaneous on my trip. I actually wasn't planning on going here. So I was in Dotonbori in Osaka, waiting for takoyaki in an absurdly long line, but then I look up and I see it. This is the Shiba Inu / Cat Cafe. The dogs and cats are in separate areas, so first we'll start off with the Shiba Inus. Now this place is a lot more in line to what I've seen back at home. A cozy enclosed space where you just get to hang out with ordinary house pets. But this time they actually had drinks. I mean, it was like basic orange juice and stuff, but hey, it's a little more in the step of the direction of a cafe. This is Namba, my buddy here, who honestly looked like he only had about 2 brain cells bouncing around in his head. Now, Namba's a little angry. I think he has beef with some of the other dogs here. Holy shit, Namba, you can't say that. It was a really relaxed environment. I feel compared to the other animal places I've been to by this point, I had more of an opportunity to just kind of vibe and process things at my own pace. It felt more like we were all relaxing with some extra company, albeit very squeaky company. My ticket came bundled with the cat cafe just downstairs. Same drinks, and even chiller cats. Honestly, I think it came in at their nap time, but that's fine. I just used this time to plan the rest of my day. I booked the hotel that I'd be staying at during this night because for whatever reason I decided to freeball the last few days of my trip. Then I missed the last train back to Tokyo, so I had to book another hotel back in Osaka, and look, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not, like, super proud of that mistake. Oh, wait, what was I talking about? Oh, right, my dog, right. Yeah, so these are just literally other house pets compared against my own. But these Shibas are located in Osaka, and my dog is located in my house, so that drastically lowers the travel time for me to go see her. Also, my dog doesn't squeak.
Sorry.
And she only sometimes gets angry, and she also doesn't say slurs. So if you think about it, she's also like a cat as well. So yeah, my dog just wins. We're gonna move on. Now, you may be thinking that throughout all these experiences, I'm just gonna say that my dog wins no matter what because, like, you know, she's my dog. And you'd be exactly right. I mean, just look at her! Oh my goodness, look at her! I feel like the appeal of places like these is the experience of being up close to an animal that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. Normally there's a pane of glass separating me from foxes at the zoo, but here I could just walk alongside them and holy shit, stop nipping at my coat!
I was just nipping at my poncho.
That's cool and all, but it's hard to compare these animals against a pet because, well, many of these animals shouldn't be pets. There are laws against owning an owl or a fox for a reason, more so for the animal's sake than ours. So of course I'm gonna choose my dog. I'm able to cultivate a healthy environment for her for years to come. Nothing could ever replace the kind of time and attachment that I have with her. As cool as an owl or a fox is, at the end of the day, I still miss my dog when I'm traveling. Even for the cats and dogs I saw out there. They may also be house pets, but the environment they're a part of is very different. These cats have become a part of the identity and history of the island. They aren't really meant to be traditional pets as much as a fox is. So to me, yes, my dog will always win over any exotic animal I could ever meet. And I think for other pet owners, the feeling would be the same for theirs too. And if you don't own one, then perhaps experiences like this can help foster an appreciation for animals and pets alike.
Woof! Finally done. Well, thank you for watching the video. This is my first one, and I'm still a little new when it comes to making YouTube stuff, so I don't fully know what the direction of my content's going to be from here, but hope to be making more. I do got a lot of Japan footage that I can still use, so we'll see what happens with that. Until next time.